Welcome back, and joining me live in the studio is Cheng Hooi of Maybank Investment Bank, and he's here to answer my questions as well as yours. Now, before the break, we were actually discussing the FBM KLCI target, and of course I forgot to ask you about your target price for the ringgit.
Okay, on the ringgit, we're actually looking for further downside of the dollar against ringgit. Our initial target is 3.33, and then subsequently 3.19 in the months to come. The reason why we say this is because ringgit has what is called a head and shoulder formation, which the trend line was broken, I think, about a few weeks ago. And if you just do a measurement of the target downwards, it's 3.19. So our advice is, with the break of the downside of the dollar ringgit trend line towards 3.19 eventually, is for exporter to hedge forward on the dollars against ringgit, and for investors not to invest in companies whereby they have dollar proceeds but they do not hedge their dollar proceeds. That's just a general word of advice there.
Okay, very good. Now, since we're touching on currencies, let's talk about the US dollar. Now, we're well aware that the US dollar is falling against major currencies as well as regional currencies.
Yes.
Is it likely that commodities will gain?
Actually, commodities have gained. Oil itself has broken above a key resistance area. It was holding 73.93 and also below 74.75, but over this week itself is broken above $75 a barrel. This is because OPEC actually has upgraded its 2010 global demand figures, and what has happened is I think oil has shot up to around $77 a barrel at least.
Right. Do you have a target for where you think oil will be heading?
Yes, indeed, about $90 a barrel.
Wow.
That's inflationary.
Okay, so do you foresee us hitting $100 a barrel again anytime soon?
Hopefully not, because it's really a strain on local consumers' pockets, you know, if the government do up the RON prices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about the trend for gold?
Well, gold I think is maybe your best friend. And gold actually has broken to an all-time high. On the charts, it's broken two triangle formations. And I think months back, I was reading people's analysis. They're talking about 1,002, 1,005. I said, well, these people have really great foresight. But myself, I think gold being about 1060 per ounce now, we're looking somewhere in the 1160 area, 1160 US per ounce. As well as somewhere in the 1450 area. So I think basically gold is going to gain at the expense of dollar being bashed down. Interesting fact is, I think some people may not know this, China has come from literally nowhere into about the 5th largest holder of gold because they're very, very frightened of their dollars actually in their reserves going down. So whatever extra, they have actually shifted into gold.
Oh.
They're a big holder of gold now.
Okay, and what about oil and gas companies? How can they possibly benefit from all this?
Generally, perhaps with more contracts, if explorations, etc., things in the oil and gas start to pick up. If oil goes up, then of course, there will be more of these sort of activities. I'm not too happy with the oil and gas sector, but I only am looking at perhaps one stock there, which is Sapura Crest, which I think the trends look very interesting to me on that stock.
Okay, now talking about sectors, of course, in view of the rising ONG prices and the better tone of the market so far, what stock picks or sectors would you favor this week?
For us this week, we've seen the finance sector actually gaining. Our favorite stock in that sector, in the chart sphere, is actually Hong Leong Bank. I think on the fundamental side is actually quite cheap, as well as the technical patterns look very strong. It's broken to an all-time high, which actually shows demand, not supply. So I think it's able to punch higher, Hong Leong Bank, in the finance area. The other one that we think that's very, very defensive, and it's irrelevant whether the budget has goodies for it or not, is glove sector.
Glove sector.
Yeah, the glove sector.
Okay. Now, we've got a question here from a regular viewer of ours, Victor Aoyong, and he wants to know, which sector of Bursa Malaysia did you find the most substantial volume increase over the past few weeks?
Well, I think basically there's a lot of volume coming in over the last 2 days. Over the last few weeks, it's been pretty lackluster. I think over the last 2 days, the volume had punched up over the 1-B area, okay? And I think it's spread out between the key blues as well as some of the speculative mid-caps type of stocks. A few smaller type of stocks, you know, the penny stocks. But I think it was like pretty well distributed right throughout the market.
Okay. Now, coming up to our final question, of course, Budget 2010 will be announced very soon. That's the next Friday. What's your advice for investors in the run-up to that? And specifically from Victor Aoyong again. He wants to know, should we invest now or should we wait until after the budget is announced?
Okay. The budget will be, in my economist terminology, pretty much a non-event, if I got the right terminology from my economist, Suhaimi. The economy actually was in bad shape, and the government had actually what is called front-loaded the economic stimulus packages. Starting from November last year, they announced Stimulus 1. This year sometime they did Stimulus 2. They have relaxed the FIC guidelines. They have also done the goodies to the public on the new PM's first 100 days. They have raised the cigarettes by 1 cent per stick. So these things that generally were like, I think, slated for budget 2010 on 23rd October, they have been brought forward in that sense. So things were brought forward. The government is probably concentrating on cutting costs. That means cutting operating expenses for this budget, or perhaps, you know, just a little bit more sin tax here and there, you know. We don't have the so-called crystal ball to know what's in the PM's armory there. And we think that, you know, you could buy for just the 5 days, but I think traditionally on budget day itself, what happens is in the afternoon as the PM reads out the budget, prices fall. So I mean, if you want to go in for a quick kill, just Monday to Thursday this week.
Okay, only Monday to Thursday.
Yeah,
nothing
then I think
on
Friday probably goes down. I mean, we notice these sort of patterns repeat over and over and over again.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind, and I'm sure investors will take that little piece home with them this week. Thank you so much, Cheng Hooi. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show with us.
Thank
you
Jenny.
very, very
Cheers.
much. Okay, that's all the time we have for our segment with Cheng Hooi. That, of course, was Cheng Hooi of Maybank Investment Bank joining us live here in our studio. That also brings us to the end of Stockwatch for tonight. If you have any questions about investing that we can help you with, please don't hesitate to email us at stockwatch@tv3.com.my. Also, don't forget to catch any interviews you may have missed on our show at our new blog, stockwatchproducer.blogspot.com. On behalf of our team, have a great investing week ahead. Until next week, same time, same channel, I'm Shadi Imanli. Good night.